Now many men will try to tell you bad things about me. Oh baby, let them try. I know one day their lust will die, and there will be no cause or reason for you to doubt me. Cause what I feel is real. The love that I have is yours, signed and sealed. Now I'm building my whole wide world around you. But baby, here's my request from you. Baby, don't take my kindness for weakness. Please don't take my sweetness for weakness. No, baby, don't take my kindness for weakness. No, no, baby.
This is one of my mama's favorite songs. I used to hear on Sunday morning she would say, glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burden down. Yeah, glory, glory, hallelujah, since I laid my burden down. She said, I feel better, so much better. mama would be in that little old church sitting back in the woods. And some old sister would get up and say, y'all let me sing my favorite verse. She said, burden down, Lord, burden down, Lord, since I laid my burden down. Oh, burden down, Lord, burden down, Lord, since I laid my burden down. Oh, I'm going home to live with Jesus since I laid my burden. When it's all over down here, I'm going home to, I'm going to live with Jesus. Oh, since I laid my burden down. Hey, glory, glory, hallelujah. Since I laid my burden down, I can say glory, glory, hallelujah. Since I laid my burden down. Oh, when it's all over down here, when this race is run, I'm gonna shout trouble over. I just want everybody to know I'm gonna sing glory, 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 hallelujah, hallelujah, glory, glory, glory. Oh, there'll be no more crying up there, glory, glory, and I can sing glory, hallelujah, glory, glory, glory. Oh yeah, no more dying. Glory, glory, hallelujah, hallelujah. And I can say glory, glory, glory. Oh, yeah. I'm gonna shout trouble over. Glory, glory. Always howdy, hallelujah. And never good side. Glory, oh, yeah. I used to hear my daddy say, oh, 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 oh,
Miracles when you move, such an easy thing for you to do. Your hand is moving right now. You are still showing up at the tomb of every Lazarus. Your voice is calling me out. And right now, I know you're able. And my God, come through again. You can do all things. You can do all things but fail. 'Cause you never lost the battle. No, you've never lost the battle. And I know you never will. Everything's possible by the power of the Holy Ghost. A new wind is blowing right now, breaking my heart of stone, taking over like it's Jericho. And my walls are all crashing down. But right now, I know you're able. And my God, come through again. You can
they were telling. They know they were stretching the truth. They know that they were exaggerating and gaslighting. They know exactly what they did. But what they didn't know is who you were. Is who you were. See, ladies and gentlemen, they thought they can contaminate and sabotage your existence. Because a lot of these devils in disguise really just want to be you, brothers and sisters. They want to be you, the source. Because you brothers and sisters actually have a connection with the Almighty. And these demons in disguise are synthetic and pathetic. It's about time we start talking a certain way. Understanding that we are royal priesthood, a peculiar people. Yes, we have humility, and yes, we're humble. But a lot of these people who align themselves against you, brothers and sisters, they're peasants. Low base, bottom of the barrel, pathetic energy. Scum of the earth. Snakes. Slithering on their bellies. They're nothing.
What is amazing, because I wanted you to realize that Donald John Trump, the sitting and active and sleeping, napping president of the United States of America, who has early stages of dementia, who is a heir of looting and robbing without a gun. It is amazing that President Trump, while being in office just since January, his family has been able to amass $3 billion while in office. Yet no hearing, no investigation, no questions. I'm not talking about Jeffrey Epstein. I ain't talking about the island. I ain't talking about the plane. I ain't even talking about grabbing people in the crotch. $3 billion while in office. And he gets it from his daddy. Not from his daddy, his granddaddy. I want you to listen in. It's going to blow your mind. Because I did a DNA search without ever swabbing his mouth to figure out where Donald Trump's business practices come from. And I don't know whether you're going to believe this story, but I got to tell it to you. In 1890, there was something called the Klondike Gold Rush. Look it up. 1890, the Klondike Gold Rush. And there was a gentleman by the name of Frederick Trump. Frederick Trump, who was the grandfather of Donald John Trump, while everybody was going to get gold, do you know what Frederick Trump did? He built hotels for gold miners. He built restaurants for those who have been digging all day. He sold shovels and picks for those who were on the grind to gold. And he amassed shrewdly a fortune on other people's thrust towards finding wealth. By the time he gets to 1901, Frederick Trump goes back to Germany a wealthy man. But Germany doesn't want him. Germany kicks him out and sends him back to America. Y'all ain't gonna believe it. You done seen this movie before. Because he dodged military service. He didn't want to serve the country, had no patriotism, had no loyalty, so they sent him back to America. He goes back to America, ladies and gentlemen, and is there for 17 years until he comes down with the flu. When he comes down with the flu in 1917, he dies of the flu. When he dies of the flu, he leaves grieving his wife by the name of Elizabeth and 3 sons. That is in 1914. In 1918, hear this, Elizabeth sets up a false company. She uses Donald Trump's father, whose name is Fred, and they set up a company, y'all need to go figure it out, called E. Trump and Sons. E. Trump and Sons. They start this company under the guise that it's actually a man. It ain't. It's the widow and the 3 sons. And they don't sell shovels. They don't sell picks. They don't sell hammers. They're not in the gold rush. They figure out that the next boom is not around gold. It's around real estate. And so what does E. Trump and Sons start doing? They start buying cheap property outside of Manhattan. They start building hundreds of affordable homes for middle-class families that are coming back from World War II, and they get government contracts. So the way that they're able to get their money is the government supplements it. Trump's been doing this a long time. It's in his DNA. That's how it is that he's coming up, off of taxpayers' money. And E. Trump and Sons were beginning to sell homes to soldiers who were coming back from World War II. This is where I'm going to get you. I'm stabbing you in the shower on Rikers Island on your first night. And they wouldn't sell it to any of the black soldiers. Any of the soldiers who were returning could get property from E. Trump and Sons, except if you were black. Any of the soldiers who were returning could get property from E. Trump and Sons, except if you were black. Trump ain't new to this. He's true to this. The level of systemic racism that we are seeing is absolutely mind-blowing and dizzying. Fred Trump came down with dementia. According to Donald Trump's sister, Mary, when he came down with dementia, Donald Trump used to make fun of his own father, was in denial about his condition, and did not want to deal with his deteriorating memory or how it is that he was losing his faculties. He swindled his 2 other siblings out of receiving anything and took the lion's share of his father's inheritance. He doesn't mind doing people dirty. If he did it to his own family, what do you think he will do to the millions of Americans who are sweating every day?
This is Divine Feminine copycat? Or someone's trying to copy a Divine Feminine's energy. You got energy work, intrude, block. This could be block, or this could... Why am I getting third party? This is not even a third party card. It says interfere, intrude, block. But there's 3 people here. It looks like 2 females and a masculine here. Someone was doing energy work to appear like they were divine. This Divine Feminine's not of this world. You know, even the Bible talks about you're not of this world. You guys are divine. You could be a star energy. This person's a fraudster. Look at this. I'm getting identity theft, but in the spirit realm, yo. And your spirit teams are, they ain't having it. Because you're an alpha. You're a leader. This person tried to represent themselves as if they were divine. This Empress is abundant, divine feminine, embody every queen of the deck, although this is a different deck here. This person trying to cloak themselves like they were you here. Star energy too, this is also Aquarius in the original deck. You got double Aquarius. You could be an Aquarius dealing with an Aquarius. There could be 2 Aquariuses copying divine feminine, divine masculine energy. What the hell is this? I'm telling you, someone was doing some dark ass shit. I am telling you, someone was doing some dark ass shit. spell work, curse, hex, rituals with the intention to harm the divine feminine here. With the intention to harm the divine feminine here. I am telling you, someone was doing some dark ass shit. Spell work, curse, hex, rituals with the intention to harm the divine feminine here. You know, the devil's here to steal, kill, and destroy. I did see the thief card in the pre-shuffle, you guys. If that comes out, we'll take it. I'm telling you, someone is bound, or they're in a toxic connection. Rituals with the intention to harm the divine feminine here. You know, the devil's here to steal, kill, and destroy. I did see the thief card in the pre-shuffle, you guys. If that comes out, we'll take it. I'm telling you, someone is bound, or they're in a toxic connection with a karmic. This copycat is a karmic. They're not you. They're not divine feminine. Or if you're this divine masculine watching, you're with the copycat. You're with the copycat. You're not with your person here. This is someone who's insecure here. This person duplicated as if they were confident. I'm like getting Queen of Wands, a false Queen of Wands, a Queen of Wands in reverse. Someone who's actually insecure, but did some type of energy work, manipulation, mind control to like swap destinies.
Hey everyone, God bless you. I have a strange word of knowledge for someone, and it's not for everyone, not a word because they're going to know it in their hearts, okay? 1 Kings 21, verse 25. Surely there was never one like Ahab, who sold himself to do evil in the sight of the Lord, incited by his wife Jezebel. The title of this word is Flying Monkeys Are Falling. I know it's a strange word, and I had to look it up because the only reference I have for something like this is from the very old film called Wizard of Oz. And in the film, there were flying monkeys, and they actually helped the Wicked Witch to do her work. And so for some of you, there are people in your life who have actually helped your main attackers. And not only is God dealing with your main attackers, his arm is going to deal with the people who have supported them, believed them, and rallied around them to carry out the evil or the plan that was not from God in your life, okay? Witch in the movie influenced these creatures to help her do her evil work against an innocent person in the film. And you're the innocent person. None of us are perfect, but you're following God and you're at least trying to live a righteous life. But there are those who the enemy have stirred to work against you and the plan of God for your life.
Exactly.
So fast forward, many use this term in modern day to describe easily influenced and manipulated. So again, many use this term to describe easily influenced and manipulated people who are close to you in some sense to turn against the target. So the person who the attack originated with is more than likely influenced by spirits of jealousy, control, manipulation, or just meanness.
Your family members hired an arsonist to burn your house down. I feel it's the house that's in North Carolina, okay, the one that your auntie is living in, okay, to try to collect on this insurance on your home, okay? And your family members, your auntie that's living in your house, her granddaughter, or your uncle, okay, is living in a house. They're trying to burn that house down because it's evidence. That's and money. And his auntie, your auntie, his wife is living in a house. The house they stole from you from your real father. Your real father left you inheritance here, left you a home and left you land. Okay, they probably had fire insurance on it. Okay, yeah, she was acting like that's her house. They're having a round table meeting right now.
The emergency session of Congress has just been called, and the word on Capitol Hill is that Trump could face immediate removal from office for violating his constitutional oath. I just released a statement that's sending shockwaves through every financial market in the world. The constitutional crisis has reached a point where market stability itself is at risk. This isn't just about politics anymore. We're talking about the very foundations of American democracy and the entire global economy hanging in the balance. And trust me, when I start talking about constitutional crises threatening markets, Wall Street listens. Let me fill you in on what's been happening behind closed doors. 3 weeks ago, Donald Trump attempted to redirect $47 billion in congressionally approved funds without congressional authorization. He took money that Congress had allocated for specific purposes and tried to spend it on his border wall and deportation programs instead. That's not a policy disagreement. That's a constitutional violation. That's not a policy disagreement. That's a constitutional violation. The Constitution is crystal clear on this. Congress controls the purse. Article 1, Section 9 states that no money shall be drawn from the Treasury, but in consequence of appropriations made by law. Congress decides how taxpayer money gets spent, not the president. Trump ignored that completely. He redirected billions anyway. When Congress pushed back, he shut down the government. For 3 weeks now, essential services have been frozen. Passport offices closed. Social Security offices stopped processing new claims. Federal employees aren't getting paid. But here's where the rubber meets the road. On October 26th, federal judge Sarah Morrison issued an emergency ruling that sent shockwaves through Washington. She called Trump's actions a flagrant violation of the Constitution's Appropriations Clause and constitutionally indefensible. Those are devastating words from a federal judge. We haven't seen language that strong directed at a sitting president since Watergate. Trump's response? He attacked the ruling, started claiming that judges don't have authority to constrain him, said he can redirect funds regardless of what Congress or the courts say. That's not a president operating within constitutional bounds. That's a president claiming to be above the Constitution itself. And that's exactly why I had to speak up. And constitutionally indefensible. Those are devastating words from a federal judge. Said he can redirect funds regardless of what Congress or the courts say. That's not a president operating within constitutional bounds. That's a president claiming to be above the Constitution itself. And that's exactly why I had to speak up. Most people don't understand the connection between constitutional stability and market value. American markets aren't valuable because of our natural resources or our technology. They're valuable because of our institutions, because of the rule of law. Investors around the world trust that contracts will be enforced, that property rights will be protected, that no one, not even the president, can simply ignore the legal framework that makes everything function. Remove that trust, and trillions of dollars in market value evaporates overnight. This mess is unfolding because Trump and Congress are at a complete standoff over his attempt to unilaterally control taxpayer money. Now, back to the matter at hand. Reports from around October 23rd revealed just how furious Trump was with Republican senators who dared question his authority. Around October 23rd revealed just how furious Trump was with Republican senators who dared question his authority. He labeled Senator Susan Collins' proposed compromise as treasonous backstabbing and even went as far as to say she was worse than the Democrats. Talk about strong words. Essentially, Trump was calling anyone who didn't fall in line a traitor for not sticking to his exact wishes. And this wasn't a private conversation. Trump made sure to air his grievances publicly on Truth Social, making it clear that he was not happy with any Republican showing independence. This announcement sent shockwaves through the GOP because it raised all sorts of questions. If Trump, the party leader himself, could turn against moderate Republicans, what did that mean for everyone else scrambling to maintain their political futures? Now, this isn't the first time we've seen this pattern. Trump's loyalty really only extends to himself. Whenever someone stops being useful or does something he doesn't like, he's quick to turn on them. We've spotted this pattern time and time again. Just think about how he turned on Jeff Sessions right after Sessions recused himself from the Russia investigation. Trump went from calling him a great senator to tweeting daily attacks, ultimately forcing him out of office. Sessions' political career in Alabama, once rock solid, was completely destroyed. Then there was Bill Barr. Trump wasn't pleased when Barr stated there was no evidence of widespread election fraud in 2020. Within days, Trump was calling his former attorney general weak and a disappointment, effectively ending their relationship and Barr's influence in Trump's circles. And let's not forget how he distanced himself from Mike Pence when Pence refused to overturn the election results on January 6th. Trump's supporters literally chanted about hanging his own vice president while Trump remained silent for hours. Even Kevin McCarthy faced a similar fate when he initially criticized Trump after January 6th. Though McCarthy later tried to repair the relationship, Trump never forgot and was notably absent when McCarthy needed support during his speakership battles. Now, it looks like moderate Senate Republicans are in the hot seat. Here's where it gets interesting. This pattern is becoming all too familiar. You can show all the loyalty in the world and defend Trump every single day, but the moment you step out of line or cease to be useful, he'll toss you aside without a second thought. So what did these senators do to tick off Trump? Well, it all boils down to the Constitution's separation of powers. The impasse happened because Trump wanted to redirect $47 billion in congressionally approved funds to his border wall and deportation programs while Congress was trying to maintain their constitutional authority over spending. Ultimately, several agencies just shut down since no one was willing to budge. As the crisis deepened, a group of Republican senators decided to take a measured stance. They supported Trump's policy goals but refused to abandon their constitutional duties. Their approach seemed to be finding middle ground that would give Trump some of what he wanted while preserving congressional authority. At first, Trump seemed to be on board with this idea. He appreciates displays of strength and the notion of Republicans standing together. But as the shutdown dragged into its third week, some issues started cropping up. Essential government services ground to a halt. Passport offices closed their doors. Social Security offices stopped processing new claims. While Trump's base remained steadfast in holding their ground, predictably, the public began to shift their blame toward Republicans. Overall, polls indicated that Americans were increasingly frustrated with what they saw as a manufactured crisis. According to a YouGov poll from October 27th, 58% of Americans blamed Trump for the shutdown, including 23% of Republicans. According to a YouGov poll from October 27th, 58% of Americans blame Trump for the shutdown. 58% of Americans blame Trump for the shutdown. Overall, polls indicated that Americans were increasingly frustrated with what they saw as a manufactured crisis. 58% of Americans blame Trump for the shutdown, including 23% of Republicans. Now here's the kicker. This was the moment Trump began to sweat a little. You see, Trump values winning, maintaining power, and overall public perception. He doesn't want to be tied to a shutdown that's hurting ordinary Americans. That's definitely not the victory he seeks. And then moderate Republicans went ahead and made a move that, according to Trump, was a serious misstep. Senator Collins started looking for ways to compromise and figured she should work with Democrats on a bipartisan solution. She even considered supporting a continuing resolution that would fund the government while negotiations continued. But when Trump caught wind of all of this, he absolutely lost it. In Trump's eyes, compromising is just a sign of weakness. Working with Democrats, that's pure betrayal. Any Republican who dares to break ranks is instantly labeled a traitor. Let's break this down. This left moderate Republicans in a tight spot. On one side, they really need Trump's backing to survive their primaries. The MAGA base will drop them like a hot potato if Trump gives the signal. On the flip side, they actually have to govern and face voters in general elections. That means figuring out how to keep the government running, maintain essential services, and not look like extremists. The tricky part is all of that requires some level of compromise and bipartisan cooperation. So they're caught in a bind. They can either keep trying to please Trump, which means holding the line no matter what, and that only makes the crisis worse and paints Republicans in a bad light. Or they can do their actual jobs as senators, which means working across the aisle. But that'll definitely make Trump turn against them. He demands complete loyalty and wants them to fight without budging, but then he points fingers when things go south. He's not shy about tossing them under the bus whenever it suits him. This whole scenario is causing major stress within the Republican Party. If Trump has turned on Susan Collins and is willing to publicly undermine his own allies, every GOP senator is left wondering if they're the next target. Those moderates who are trying to balance serving their constituents with party loyalty are now worried sick about being the next one to get tossed aside. Meanwhile, the MAGA wing believes Collins and others aren't fighting hard enough and that they're too open to compromise. Things became even more intense when Mitch McConnell, one of the most strategic Republicans in the Senate, broke away from Trump's position. He had been pushing for a more sustainable solution and criticized Trump for creating an unnecessary crisis. Meanwhile, the MAGA wing believes Collins and others aren't fighting hard enough and that they're too open to compromise. Things became even more intense when Mitch McConnell, one of the most strategic Republicans in the Senate, broke away from Trump's position. He had been pushing for a more sustainable solution and criticized Trump for creating an unnecessary crisis. When someone as politically savvy as McConnell starts turning against you, you know you're in a world of hurt. But wait, there's more. The situation took a dramatic legal turn when Judge Morrison stepped into the fray. The legal process moved pretty quickly, and the judge recognized the urgency. After all, every day the crisis continued meant more damage to democratic norms and public services. And let me tell you, the judge didn't hold back with the ruling. It was a major blow for Trump. The judge declared that Trump's actions were constitutionally indefensible and a clear abuse of executive power. That's legal speak for saying, you've got no solid ground to stand on here. There's no legal validity to what you're doing. You're just abusing your power. Judge Morrison calling out Trump by name created a real stir. It's a significant move, reminding Trump that he isn't above the Constitution. This is a huge deal that doesn't usually happen in functioning democracies. Legal experts are noting that we haven't seen a federal court rebuke a president this strongly since the Nixon era. Legal experts are noting that we haven't seen a federal court rebuke a president this strongly since the Nixon era. Jonathan Turley, a conservative constitutional scholar who's not exactly known for opposing Republican presidents, went on Fox News and made a statement that really should catch everyone's attention. He said that the court's language is unusually harsh because the violation is unusually clear. This isn't a gray area of executive authority. Just think about that for a moment. When even conservative legal voices are saying the president clearly violated the Constitution, and this is coming from a regular Fox News contributor. Andrew McCarthy, a former federal prosecutor and National Review columnist, mentioned that if this ruling stands, it essentially tells Trump he cannot govern by decree. The implications for his entire second-term agenda are staggering. When legal experts from both sides start tossing around terms like constitutionally indefensible and clear violation, that's the moment to really pay attention. So let's break down what this showdown could mean, because it's not just a captivating constitutional story, it has serious consequences for how our democracy operates. First up is the immediate political fallout. Trump is already facing significant backlash due to the ongoing crisis, and his approval ratings are taking a hit. GOP representatives are getting anxious about the upcoming 226 midterms, which is definitely adding to the tension. The emergency congressional session being called, and honestly, that's not the best look for him. Most folks in America have a good deal of respect for constitutional limits as a vital part of our system, even if they don't always agree with specific policies. Democrats are definitely planning to take advantage of this situation. They'll argue that Trump believes he's above the Constitution and does not hold the rule of law in high regard. And they'll have a federal judge's ruling backing up those claims. This is going to be Exhibit A in proving that Trump poses a fundamental threat to democracy.
We're going to begin with the weather again, because why? The bitter cold, it's in more than 40 states. So that means most of the country where it's now below freezing. That's after a dangerous mix of rain and snow created very hazardous conditions on the roads. Here in the Northeast, it was the first big snowfall of the season. Some areas got up to 12 inches. I'm not ready. Tom Hansen is in Middletown, New York. Tom, they say it's a winter wonderland, is it?
Oh, it certainly doesn't feel like that. Look, I held up snow for evening news. I thought I would do a sound check for you guys this morning just to show how much it's hardened overnight. You can hear this sounds like a brick. Now, we only got about 4 inches of snow here. Elsewhere, people got it a whole lot worse, but that's created hazardous driving conditions from the Midwest to the Northeast. The driver who lost control had to be rescued from the hanging cab.
I was in there with him, and you know, the safer we got that harness on him, the safer we was and the faster we could get out of there.
In eastern Ohio, a truck hauling cars along Interstate 80 spun off the slick highway, crashing into nearby trees.
This is our first winter storm, obviously, and because of that, people are not used to handling the snow anymore.
Jacob Tawil is the Public Works Commissioner for Middletown, New York. He's concerned Tuesday's dense, wet snow could turn into freezing rain and coat the pavement with dangerous ice.
That's when we start having more accidents because people, they think that the roads are clear, it's not slippery. So we try to do an extra effort in there to put more salt when it's icy.
How's it going so far? Not bad. A lot of traffic out on the road still. Robert Reynolds has plowed streets for 16 years. His advice to drivers?
Just drive safe, drive slow, there ain't no rush. You're gonna get to your destination no matter what.
Good, and I'm gonna tell you like someone told me when I was a kid, stay away from the yellow snow. All right, Tom, thank you so much. For more on the cold and snow, let's bring in the majestic meteorologist himself, John Elliott from CBS News New York. John, good morning.
Just checking my shoes. That certainly took a turn. All right, let's review. First off, you can see the darker shades of blue. That's 6 to 12 inches of snow. We did have some totals 12 plus, so that's what we're dealing with. Right now, happy to report that most of this is winding down. But just wait, kids, there's more where that came from because there is another blast of Arctic air. In fact, right now, there's freezing fog in Missouri. All of this cold air will do a number on our numbers. You know, we talk about wind chill, and you look at some of these wind chills, 20 to 25 degrees below zero tomorrow morning. All of this cold air is on the move. This is going to continue to migrate through the lakes and to the East Coast as well. Absolutely brutal for the big cities along the East Coast, and you can see widespread sub-zero wind chills. That's going to be the hallmark of the end of your week. Just real quickly, they know me as a nag in New York. I'm always nagging people. Please heat your home and apartment safely. The last thing we want to do is make firefighters fight a fire with this kind of chill. Back to you guys.
Really good advice, John. Thank you very much. We're going to turn now to Washington and a cabinet meeting that lasted for more than 2 hours where news was made on a number of issues, namely that controversial missile strike. Nancy Cordes is at the White House for us. Nancy, good morning to you.
Tony, good morning. And this cabinet meeting was notable because it was the first chance that reporters had to ask Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth about that controversial follow-up strike on a suspected drug boat, a strike that some lawmakers are calling a war crime. Directly to the president's left, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth said he was no longer in the room on September 2nd when a Navy admiral ordered a second strike on this suspected drug boat.
A couple of hours later, I learned that commander had made which he had the complete authority to do, and by the way, Admiral Bradley made the correct decision to ultimately sink the boat and eliminate the threat.
The first strike reportedly killed 9 people, and the second killed the final 2 who were clinging to debris. That is the part that has many in Congress outraged.
I think there's a broad consensus that it's illegal to kill people who are clinging to wreckage.
Let me be very clear. Killing shipwreck survivors is a war crime.
In the cabinet meeting, Trump stood by Hegseth.
And Pete has done an amazing job.
But he also set off Democratic alarm bells with this comment.
I want those boats taken out, and if we have to, we'll attack on land also, just like we attack on sea.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said that would require an act of Congress first.
If Trump were to order an attack on land, that would be an act of war, and Congress would invoke the War Powers Act.
The more than 2-hour cabinet meeting touched on a variety of topics, from inflation.
The word affordability is a con job.
To immigration.
We're going to go the wrong way if we keep taking in garbage into our country.
The president stoking a new controversy with these comments about people who came to the U.S. from the African nation of Somalia.
I don't want them in our country. Their country's no good for a reason. Their country stinks, and we don't want them in our country.
Charges led to a massive amount of money pouring into both campaigns. In fact, a CBS analysis found at least $8 million was spent on the race, with more than $6 million donated by outside groups. Now, Van Epps received more than $1 million from President Trump's super PAC, and support for his campaign, of course, surged after getting the president's endorsement back in October. Now, Van Epps last night said that Trump's endorsement, quote, made all the difference. He will, of course, be replacing now retired Representative Mark Green for the remainder of his term, but will have to run for re-election again in the 2026 midterms. Nate.
Nicole, thank you. The first court hearing for the man accused of killing a National Guard soldier and wounding another revealed new information about last week's attack just blocks from the White House. The suspect faces murder and other charges. He appeared on video at Tuesday's hearing from his hospital bed. Nicole Skenga has the latest.
Newly released surveillance images revealed in court documents appear to show the suspect standing near a busy Washington, D.C. metro station before turning a corner and opening fire at members of the National Guard. He allegedly was shouting Allahu Akbar, Arabic for God is greatest. 20-year-old specialist Sarah Beckstrom and 24-year-old Staff Sergeant Andrew Wolf were struck in the head. The gunman then engaged in a shootout with another guardsman and at one point bent down next to the wounded soldiers before being shot at by an uninjured guardsman while reloading. The suspect remains hospitalized, as does Staff Sergeant Wolf. Specialist Beckstrom died Thanksgiving Day. The alleged shooter, Rahmanullah Lochinwall, served on a CIA-backed operations team in his native Afghanistan before he fled to the U.S. in 2021 and was granted asylum earlier this year. In response to the shooting, the Trump administration's now halting all immigration applications from 19 countries. And officials tell CBS News the administration is also considering expanding the travel ban list from 19 to around 30 countries. Lochinwall has pleaded not guilty to murder, assault, and firearms charges.
This individual was brought into this country as a result of the largesse of the American people and the American government, and he betrayed us.
The suspect's next court appearance is scheduled for January 14th. For CBS Mornings, I'm Nicole Skenga in Washington, D.C. Lochinwall has pleaded not guilty to murder, assault, and firearms charges.
Former president of Honduras, convicted in the U.S. on drug trafficking charges, is out of prison this morning, pardoned by President Trump only a year into what was going to be a 45-year sentence. Prosecutors said that Juan Orlando Hernandez helped smuggle 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S., taking bribes from drug traffickers along the way. President Trump calls the conviction a setup by the Biden administration, offering no evidence of that claim. A former president of Honduras, convicted in the U.S. on drug trafficking charges, is out of prison this morning, pardoned by President Trump only a year into what was going to be a 45-year sentence. Prosecutors said that Juan Orlando Hernandez helped smuggle 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S., taking bribes from drug traffickers along the way. President Trump calls the conviction a setup by the Biden administration, offering no evidence of that claim. Critics say the pardon contradicts the administration's push to stop drug smuggling by attacking small boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific. A former president of Honduras, convicted in the U.S. on drug trafficking charges, is out of prison this morning, pardoned by President Trump only a year into what was going to be a 45-year sentence. Prosecutors said that Juan Orlando Hernandez helped smuggle 400 tons of cocaine into the U.S., taking bribes from drug traffickers along the way. President Trump calls the conviction a setup by the Biden administration, offering no evidence of that claim. The administration's push to stop drug smuggling by attacking small boats in the Caribbean and the Pacific.
This morning,
The demon pardoned this man, but he blew up people on a boat in the water. What a contradiction. What a damn fool. What an evil individual. Evil human. Just plumb damn evil.
To being a voice for the people in Burlington. Her first official act as mayor she called for nominations for Mayor Pro Tem, resulting in Councilmember Bob Ward being sworn in after a unanimous vote. Now, newly elected Councilmember Ian Baltutis and Jeffrey Smythe also took the stage and were sworn in. So, new mayor. First time a woman has ever been mayor in Burlington. And they went over to Cummings to have plenty of room for all the supporters. Now we've got an election going on that you can sign up to run. The filing period will last until Friday, December 19th to sign up for the next election that's coming up. Now the second day of the filing period for 2026 elections brought out 3 additional candidates filing for election to a full 4-year term on the district court bench is Republican Brian Ray, who was elected to a partial 2-year term in 2024. Also filing for the newly designated chairman of the Alamance County Board of Commissioners is Kelly Allen. Allen, a Republican, was designated by the Republican Executive Committee to fill the remainder of Craig Turner's term, which he was elected to the district court bench in November of 2024. Allen was unanimously selected by her colleagues on Monday as the new chairman of the Board of Commissioners. In nonpartisan races, Dr. Eric Hall, who was appointed to fill an unexpired term on the school board, said that he is going to run for a full 4-year term. Now, that was yesterday. On Monday, Sheriff Terry Johnson signed up to run for his 7th 4-year term. Native of Snow Camp, Johnson, 75, has the position of sheriff since the fall of 2002. Doug Green, 60, a Democrat who was appointed to Superior Court last year by then Governor Roy Cooper, has announced that he will run for an 8-year term associated with the Superior Court seat and he filed on Monday. Similarly, Christy Miller Culler, a Republican who was appointed to fill a 2-year term for the clerk of court when the previous clerk, Meredith Edwards, was elected to a district court judgeship in 2024, filed for election to the clerk's post. Incumbent Republican District Attorney Sean Boone also filed for re-election. He was first elected in 2022. 2 Democrats filed for County Commissioner, Mebane City Councilman Sean Ewing, who had previously announced his intention to seek the post, and Ramona Allen. Any additional candidates will trigger a Democrat primary for the 2 available seats, both now held by Republicans on this year's ballot. Another Democrat, LaVon Barnes, filed to run for House Seat 64 in a rematch to challenge incumbent Republican Dennis Riddell in 2024. Riddell bested Barnes roughly by 55 to 45%. Also filing for re-election in the nonpartisan school board race was Dr. Charles Parker, who was first elected in 2022. The filing period will end on Friday, December 19th. So if you've always wanted to run, jump in there. Get ready. Well, in sports action, now
Speaking of every person in the Democratic Party, it's not my message, it never has been. But it's not difficult to identify such individuals. Yesterday we heard this statement, quote, "I could care less about how many abortions take place in this country." I'm going to repeat that. I could care less about how many abortions take place in this country. The message was clear. Chop them up, throw them in a trash can. I could care less, because that's what happens when a child is aborted. I just wonder, folks, if such an individual has ever considered in any way the statement made by Jesus Christ. He said, if you do this to these little ones, you would just as well have a millstone tied around your neck and be dropped into the water. That word, live and direct from Christ himself, cannot be misunderstood. It's as clear as a glass of water, and it is directed to anyone who engages in this ungodly butchering of a child. And if anyone questions whether or not a child is in that womb, go to an ultrasound. Thank God for such technology. Go there, look inside the womb, and you will immediately see the features of the child. A mouth, ears, eyes, nose. If there's any doubt that this is a child, I would also direct you to God's Word. Remember when Elizabeth, the mother of John the Baptist, was pregnant? And the mother of Jesus visited with her. And we're told that baby, John, leaped inside of her womb. And you want to tell me that a human being is not inside that womb? No, those who don't respect life, they know the baby exists. As I said yesterday, they simply don't care. And that was amplified by the caller yesterday who said he could care less about the abortions taking place. So what would cause somebody to make that kind of a statement? How about political expediency? Takes us right back to the Democratic Party and the demonic forces that have invaded that party. And if there's any doubt about what I'm saying, go to their platform and read the content. Read the kind of base on which Kamala Harris ran for president, and be sure to include in your review the fact that prayer is not permitted during their conventions. When I think about all of this, I flash back to the memories of an interview that took place with Justice Clarence Thomas, whatever. He said that when he was he was having to testify before the Senate Judiciary Committee seeking to be affirmed. And during that extensive interview, Justice Thomas stated, I'll never forget this, that those on that committee, he said they had only one subject on their mind, abortion. They were so concerned, so troubled, that if enough conservative judges were on that court one day, that Roe versus Wade might disappear. Thank God it did. And would anyone like to guess who the chairman of that Judiciary Committee was at that time? The name should sound very familiar. How about one by the name of Joseph Biden? See, we're talking about a long time ago, but you see the fact that Biden was swimming in the blood of butchered babies.
Everybody likes to take a holiday.
And then compare that to a
Everybody likes to take a rest.
Those conservative judges to the Supreme Court.
Spending time together with the family. Sharing lots of love and happiness.
Mean that abortion is ended. The sin
Come on, ring those bells like the Christmas tree. Yeshua is the King, born for you and me. Come on, ring those bells, everybody say, Yeshua, we remember it's your birthday. Celebrations coming because of something good. Celebrations we love to recall. Mary had a baby boy in Bethlehem, the greatest celebration of them all. Come on now. Come on, ring those bells like the Christmas tree. Jesus is the King, born for you and me. Come on, ring those bells, everybody say, Jesus, we remember it's your birthday. Come on, ring those bells like the Christmas tree. Jesus is the King, born for you and me. Come on, ring those bells, everybody say,
Jim is not a Christian. And I'm not
Jesus,
the only
we
one that's that way.
remember it's
But
your
when I tell you something, the same individual who
birthday.
says
Come
that
on,
will
ring
turn
those
right around this
bells,
program
light
and
the
say,
Christmas
we should not
tree.
judge others.
Jesus is
That
the
is correct.
King,
And
born
we
for
hope that
you
we will
and
apply that to our own
me.
lives.
Come
Have a
on,
good day, Mr.
ring
Harry.
those
God bless you.
bells, everybody say, Jesus, we That remember Jim, he's it's your pitiful looking. birthday. He's a pitiful man. You must pray for him.
Good morning. You're on Top On.
Morning, Harry.
Hey there.
How's that day going?
All right.
Well, I'm sitting here listening to people, listening to them discuss how things are going. And, you know, I had my lineage traced all the way back to the Revolutionary War. One of my kinfolk was a Minuteman. And they fought against the British Crown, you know, no taxation without representation. And we were a little piddling country against the greatest nation in the world. British had the largest army, the largest navy, and we stood up to them with blood and guts, and we won. It wasn't given to us. We won all the rights that we have in the Constitution. And a lot of people have never read the Constitution. And I've read it many a time. I suspect you've read it. And the rights that was paid for with blood and treasure are not to be given away because of how good somebody can talk.
Y'all harp on the Bible so much, it ain't supposed to be stolen either. You sorry ass racist bitch.
Had to go all the way across the water. And they had to kill
get some Africans to come over here and build America. Y'all some sorry ass people. And I ain't gonna let you forget it. You're sorry as hell.
And terrible people. And put them in the ground. So there's a lot of people that enjoy the terrorism that they put out. They enjoy bullying the whole world.
Yeah, that's exactly what y'all sorry ass motherfuckers do. You bully the whole goddamn world.
More than a bully, where somebody thinks by force of arms,
y'all white Caucasian motherfuckers,
on me, that he's gonna make me do what he thinks is right. And I've always been a man to stand up to the bully. And
well, you got somebody that's gonna stand right back up to your goddamn ass too, cause you the damn bully. You just don't know it.
He's in a fight for his life. And I think right now, the people of the United States, they're in a fight for the life of the United States of America. I do believe.
You better believe it, motherfucker. Y'all ain't gonna do what you did the last time. Hell no.
They don't care about Harry. They don't care about the Catman. All they want is what they can get, but they also want that power to make me, to make you think and talk and do what they think is the best for all of us.
And that's exactly what y'all got us doing. But I don't know how many goddamn centuries, you goddamn sorry piece of shit. Go look in the damn mirror. Go take yourself talking and then listen at your goddamn self, you stupid motherfucker.
We've done a lot of elections. And I've tried to research the stuff and vote for good people that would be a steward of my rights and be a steward of the tax money I sent them. And the more I listen to how much of mine and yours and everybody else that's listening to me, tax money has been wasted on frivolities and stuff that has nothing to do with the welfare of the people of the United States of America. And then when that crazy, I don't know if he was a jihadist or what, but he was crazy. He rode all the way from Washington State, brought a firearm and ammunition, and I had been in the metro station not a month before that. And I'm just wondering if the two brave, wonderful patriots that he shot down were some that I had talked to. Because every time I saw a National Guard, whether it was 2 of them or 4 of them, I walked up to them, I stuck my old hand out, I said, thank you for your service, thank you for protecting the United States of America, and thank you for protecting this old white-haired man. And I meant everything I said.
Well, you know, it's interesting because you may have...
Why didn't you say this old white-skinned man, you sorry piece of red shit?
You were just talking to him, so interesting.
All right. Well, they all had their army stuff on, and they all had helmets on. But I looked every one of them in the face and told them how much their sacrifice meant to me.
All right. Appreciate it.
We have got to put the bad people away permanently.
All right. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we sure do.
Take care.
We got to get rid of y'all goddamn sorry asses, cause y'all ain't nothing but trouble. Y'all keep shit going. You ain't nothing but goddamn greedy ass motherfuckers.
Who's bad and who's good? And what's happening is we're entering politics into it. You know, the Republicans hate the Democrats hate the Republicans. Now, the Republicans might be right. The Democrats still hate them. The Democrats might be right. The Republicans still hate them. It just beats anything I've ever seen. This political nightmare that we've developed for each other, where it's my way or the highway, we got to get away from that. We got to start talking to each other. There are a lot of people that say, no, I don't want to talk to you. I don't believe, you know, I don't think that there's any, why would I want to talk to somebody who is so stupid and so wrong? Well, maybe you could convince them that they're wrong and stupid. You're certainly not ever going to convince them if you don't talk to them. You know, it's just that we've gotten into this Duke Carolina that Michael talks about when it comes to politics. And there are times when the bad people that are obviously bad get talked about like they're not bad, like they're good people.
Funny you said that. The way y'all take up for that evil, narcissistic devil, Donald Trump. You got that right. You said that exactly right. There are some people that are bad and people try to make them good. Just like y'all do with that sorry ass piece of shit, Donald Trump. Y'all some backwards ass people. Greedy. And then you try to write a Bible for us to go by. And y'all sorry asses don't even go by it, you sorry ass motherfuckers. Preaching homosexuality is a sin, and all y'all goddamn sorry ass suck dicks and eat ass like it's the best meal in the world. Hiding a joint European slave union ship that y'all made up and called it Jesus or Savior. Y'all some sorry ass people. Sorry. Now you hop on abortion because you need some damn white babies. You need them white women to have you some damn white babies. Black women have all the black babies and just overpopulate the damn world.
Sell them at prices you can afford. Those 3 pharmacists are still around.
Just talking about them on Top Line.
Just more or less see things, in my opinion, about how this world is. I hear things, you know, somebody calls in and was telling about the rhetoric they hear, and I'm not saying what party or affiliation is concerned, but when you call people stupid and use the R word toward those people. You don't have any feeling, it sounds like, for the regular people as far as that goes. And then over the things that's going on with the boats, I remember, if y'all have any probably uncles, grandfathers that fought during the service, and I know you've heard tales about where they were either on ships or captured, and they were shot and killed. Of course, if they could, bring them up and charge them, they did that. But the whole world, seems to be against the United States now from things that's said and done. Used to be other countries kind of looked up to America and our standards, but I think it's completely opposite now of the way that people feel toward us. And I think it's just what's going on with the wording and the sayings that we hear every day on the news. And that's just, that's just a portion of it. If you got ears and can see the things that's happening, you'll understand, in my opinion. I'm not a politic person. I don't claim to be, but I'm a person that sees right and wrong things, and I know most of the people out there do. And even this North Carolina in our county, you can see things. The tensions are against people against each other, and it's just a terrible place. And hopefully, someday it'll get better. And that's just my opinion on it.
All right. Well, thank you for calling. We appreciate you.
Thank you.
You take care. Well, I would disagree with something. I don't think that for the most part that people in other countries hate Americans. I've been to other countries, and I've seen some people that do hate Americans. And my friends that live in other countries say, you can hear on the news somebody screaming and hollering bad stuff about America, but the vast majority of people that we know love America. Many of them would love to come and live in America. I think that there is a faction out there that wants to make it seem like people hate America. Most of the world doesn't.
I don't know about that, Mr. Harry. The problem is most of the world is ignorant and dumb. They don't know the truth about America. America is a big deceptive lie. It has stolen everything from everybody. And the people in charge know it. That's why it's called God, the governments of deception. We know what the hell is going on. And the Most High sees it, because I see it. You ain't fooling nobody but your own damn self. You better go look in the damn mirror. Ain't nothing in America true. The institutions were made and built on lies and taught to teach people lies. You sorry-ass, trashy people. You ain't no people of the Most High God. You are people of the goddamn devil, you dark energy. You ain't shit.
More out in the open and we know about it. Aren't there some things that perhaps we wouldn't really want to know about? There's not as many secrets as there used to be. Maybe secrets are better.
No, they ain't either. Think what those secrets have done. Those secrets have caused the goddamn world to be in chaos.
We start talking about things that are bad and things that are good. It appears to me it takes on a political element. The politics of the Republicans and the Democrats, narco-terrorism. People that are out there terrorizing the folks here in the United States with narcotics should not be a political issue. But what happens is we've got this thing that people call trope derangement syndrome. And it's led the corporate media and Democrats, even some Republicans, to take some truly despicable public stances over the years. Defending narco-terrorism attempting to flood American communities with deadly poison may be even a new loan for this. How can you defend these bloodthirsty narco?
You hear what he said? We were defending. They are defending evil. We are defending good, but he said we are defending evil. It's some backwards ass people. I mean, they disgusting.
After a report from the Washington Post effectively alleging, based on unverified, anonymous claims, that President Donald Trump, Secretary of War Pete Hegseth, and even rank-and-file military personnel are guilty of war crimes, blowing up drug boats bound for the United States. It is in their reactionary opposition to everything Trump does. The left has now decided that drug trafficking and traffickers are sympathetic victims. The story begins on the first day of Trump's second term, when the president signed an executive order officially authorizing the designation of certain international cartels and other organizations as foreign terrorist organizations. That designation unlocked new tools for the Trump administration to do what previous presidents have failed to do, namely use lethal force to eliminate one of the most urgent and deadly threats to the American people. On September 1st, the military exercised this authority for the first time, destroying a boat full of drugs off the coast of Venezuela and killing everyone on board. Subsequently, strikes have killed more than 80 people and stopped untold amounts of deadly substances from entering the United States. To any American with any modicum of decency and common sense, that's good news. Drug addiction remains a scourge on our country, particularly in small towns and rural communities that political establishments abandoned long ago. The United States owes nothing to evil terrorists.
But the damn fool turn around and pardons the president of Honduras, right? For all those drugs he brought into America. Oh, that's fine. He was supposed to have spent 45 years in prison. I think I'm going to pardon him. He only gets 1 year. What's the difference? What is the goddamn difference, you backwards ass motherfuckers? You pardon one and then kill 80. You sorry ass, backwards, stupid motherfuckers. Yes, that's what you are. You some dumbass, demonic fuckers.
Legitimate war between the two sides, killing any of the men in the boats amounts to murder, said Todd Hundley, a former military lawyer who advised Special Operations Forces for 7 years at the height of the U.S. counterintelligence terrorism campaign. Really? No imminent threat? 81,700 Americans died of drug overdoses in 2024. More than 100,000 died in each of the 3 years before that. Many of those drugs came through exactly the same channels that the Trump administration is now targeting. Does someone have to be running around with a gun or a bomb to be considered a threat to American people? The narco-terrorists in the Caribbean pose at least a serious threat, and likely more tangible threat to American people, as do the Islamic terrorists that the military spent the last 20 years chasing around in the Middle East.
But it's okay. Well, I'm going to pardon him. I like this man. I don't care if he did bring drugs to America. I like him, so I'm going to pardon him.
To retrieve them and their cargo. But that hasn't stopped elected Democrats from going nuclear over the whole situation. Liberal leaders in both the House and the Senate, with frustratingly naive buy-ins from some Republicans, are now calling to drag Hegseth in front of a panel and demand answers. Some Democrats are going even further and calling for everyone involved to be prosecuted. Yet another transparent attempt to sow fear and uncertainty within the ranks and undermine the military's chain of command. Massachusetts Democrat Seth Moulton told the Post, "Mark my words, it will take some time, but Americans will be prosecuted for this." This is a sad state for the Democrat Party in 2025, even as their own constituents suffer and die from drug addiction. Democrats want to put military personnel on trial for murder, for rightfully killing foreign terrorists who are supplying those drugs In the first place, the drug traffickers get to continue poisoning Americans, but the heroes that are eliminating them face war crimes charges. The liberal outrage appears to be more fraudulent given what witnessed under the last two Democrat presidents. After his disastrous Afghanistan withdrawal got 13 Americans killed, Joe Biden, Pentagon leaders attempted to make up for it by hastily launching a drone attack that murdered 10 innocent civilians, including a U.S. aid worker and 7 children. Where were the calls for congressional investigations and war crimes tribunals then? Same people now calling for Pete Hegseth to go to prison for killing drug traffickers shrugged off the Biden administration's drone strikes on a car full of kids overseeing the most shameful U.S. military defeat in history and leaving $7 billion in military equipment in the hands of the Taliban. After the claim that Trump should go through Congress to target drug traffickers, where were those same voices when Barack Obama was in office? The drone striker-in-chief unilaterally launched 563 covert strikes without congressional approval, nearly 10 times the 57 strikes launched by George W. Bush. Obama's drone campaign killed an estimated 384 to 807 civilians without a peep from the left. What liberals can't stand about Trump's strikes on drug boats is they are effective and absolutely necessary. The Post unintentionally makes the case for the president when it relays that the Pentagon's lethal campaign marks a significant and controversial departure from U.S. counter-drug missions in the Western Hemisphere over the last several decades. Typically, Coast Guard ships and personnel have interdicted and boarded vessels believed to be trafficking and confiscated the narcotics and detained the suspects for further prosecution, we're told. And how exactly has that worked out for the United States or any of the other countries trying to destroy these narco-terrorists? The drug cartels have only become richer and more powerful, and more Americans have become hooked on the poison that they're suffering. In the end, the outrage isn't about war crimes. It's about left-wing politics, a political class so consumed with hating Donald Trump that they'll side with blood-soaked cartel killers over their own country. If liberals want to pretend that taking out drug-running militants is some horrendous act, then they're only exposing how morally backward their worldview has really become.
Look at somebody calling regular people backwards. And they are so backwards. They are backwards as backwards can get. And calling somebody else backwards. Ain't they pitiful? They need a whole bunch of prayer. They're going to have to evolve through some more centuries because something wrong with them.
The right thing to do. Attacking these narco-terrorists, but the problem is that there are people that dislike Trump so much that they think that this is a way to get after him and you know, paint this picture of him doing something that's wrong. When actually in the past, when other presidents have done it, as long as they were not Trump, it was all right. And that's the problem. That's what politics does.
But why would he kill those people and then turn around and pardon another one that was supposed to get 45 years and he didn't get but 1 year? What's the difference? You're going to kill 80 people, but you're going to pardon one. Make it make sense. Somebody, please explain that to me. Because it don't make sense to me.
Michael accused me the other day of not bringing this stuff up. I bring it up all the time. I hate what politics does. You know, I'm fascinated by politics, and I pay attention to it. But when it gets to the point where it's all or nothing, it's my way or the highway, it's Duke, Carolina, all the time between Democrats and Republicans, it makes no sense. We need to do the people's business, not political business. 22 minutes after 9 o'clock, let me tell you about Deal Law. J. Ray Deal and all the attorneys at Deal Law, they're ready to help you.
Yeah, I believe you. I said, yeah, I said, he knows this call's coming.
Did you watch the game last night between?
Yes, I did.
See, I didn't get to watch it. I just read about it. And
it's a little bit chilly, but let me tell you something. I just put out some deer corn. For the squirrels, so they call it deer corn. So I put it out for the squirrels and the birds and all that stuff. You know, and then if I decide to go hunting, a deer might come along, and he might not. So that's just a chance you take, you know. But look, y'all was talking about the old basketball game. You know what the problem is. You know they gamble on them basketball games. They got the big seats out there. They got people running numbers here and there. And anytime they can make the game more exciting, the cost of the money goes up a little bit. The bet gets a little bit better. You got that going on. You know, you got these players that don't do nothing but shoot. That's all they do, shoot basketball, dribble and shoot. That's all they do for 4 years. They ought to be unstoppable. I don't care who you are. You ought to be unstoppable. If that's all you do for 4 years to shoot, you ought to be good at the game. You know? So, it's kind of hard not to think that there ain't something else going on in the background. And you know, there's no illegal gambling in Alamance County. You know that. See? So, but that's not to say it ain't down there in Durham or Chapel Hill or somewhere like that. We don't know about this place. Yeah, but
they lost a lot of money gambling on the Most High's chosen one. The church did. The church demons, the wolves in sheep's clothing, lost a lot of money betting against a chosen one of the Most High God, the church. Now, don't that tell you something? That's right here in Alamance County.
And they come full over top of them on the left side, on the right side, turned and went the other way, just doing all this playing that they're doing, leaving this funny looking trail in there. You know, that's not a normal thing. But they call them flatline clouds. Now, can you imagine that? Can you just imagine it? Now, if I hadn't seen the video, I watched it for myself, I wouldn't have
Fake.
say anything about it.
Fake video. Fake. They make this stuff up. You can't believe this stuff. You want to believe it, so you believe it. It's fake. Those are not real videos, for goodness sake. Don't believe that.
They're not real.
No.
They're not real.
Most of the video, I would hazard a guess. Now, I don't know. You know, I'm not an expert in this. But I would hazard a guess that something like 60% of all videos that you can find on the internet have been altered somehow. They've been changed a little bit to make them look better or whatever.
Hey, if I do something and I post a video, the only thing that's been done to it is sent to so everybody else can watch.
I ain't talking about you. I'm talking about the conspiracy theory. The way they get conspiracy theories going is they make fake videos. AI does a fake video that makes up stuff that isn't true. It's all over the internet. You know, all you have to do is double check something. You know, put in where this video came from, and say it's Automatic Video Corporation, fake videos. Put that in. And Google that, and all of a sudden you'll see the fake videos that come up. I mean, it's all fake. It just don't believe anything you see. Double check, triple check everything that you see on the internet. You have to do that, or you're gonna get stuck.
Now, I guess if we watching Fox News and Caroline Leathers on there, that group of from overseas, it's all up in there. Mm-hmm. And she said 50% of every claim was false. Mm-hmm. Now, are we supposed to believe her?
I don't believe anything. I double check everything, triple check. I don't believe anything, no. I double and triple check everything, especially on some of the you know, now look, if there's somebody that I believe in, that I believe is honest, who is talking to the American people live, well, I believe that. You know,
you don't believe Trump is honest?
I believe he'll say things that aren't true, yeah.
Did you think that everything Biden or Obama said was the God honest truth?
Absolutely not. I don't believe anybody. I just told you. I don't believe anything anybody says. I double check everything. I don't even believe the stuff you say. I have to go double check it too.
Oh, come on now, Harry. Now, you know, I thought we was buds here. I thought we was gonna be buddies here, and now all of a sudden.
See, now you've already told me something that you saw and heard about. Well, as soon as I get off the air and get a chance, I'll double check that, make sure that I can find the same video that you saw, and I'll see whether it's real or fake.
Well, now here's another thing that you might want to check on. It probably interests you. And I was watching a Northern Ireland podcast interview thing, and these three guys was dressed up in black, and they had their two in the back had their weapons on them, you know, hanging down there, or whatever type it was. And they was talking about getting rid of the Muslims in Northern Ireland because they're having a lot of killings, they have a lot of rape and stuff like that. Now, and this is, they're called, what was the name they was using? The Northern Ireland Republic. That's the northern part of Ireland, I guess.
Probably the Irish.
And they was talking about, he said, if we're going, and when they do something like that, he said we was going to take them out.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know where he's going to take them out to dinner, or take them out to lunch, or take them out to the airplane.
Again.
I mean, I don't know.
Again, I don't believe anything. Double check everything.
But you remember when they was doing all the bombing in Northern Ireland, and that group was ruthless, right?
Right. Sure.
I think, you don't play with them people. Because I think they're going to be ruthless again.
Okay.
You know, and that's, as long as they take care of it. All right, brother, I know I'm past due, so...
appreciate it. Thank you. Take care. 222. Not 222. I've gotten very skeptical. You know, I'm skeptical about everything. And the internet is just full of bald-faced lies. You cannot believe the stuff without checking. You've got to check stuff. You know, and it's like so many of these things that they say are righteous and real. You know, like all the security people that said that the Hunter Biden laptop was likely Russian disinformation. They knew it wasn't. They already knew it wasn't. They were just lying. And there's all sorts of lies out there. You know, he was talking about Trump. Has Trump ever lied? Yes. And you have to be careful about those things. The people that you like will lie to you. The people that you hate will lie to you. So what you have to do is figure out what is the truth and what isn't. And that's what we do in America. We listen to what everybody has to say. Everybody has their freedom to speak. And we listen to everything that they have to say, and we make our decisions based on, it's like Michael was asking me yesterday.
No, you don't. Some people, you just try to poison and get them out of the way. You try to kill them, you sorry ass, goddamn pieces of goddamn raggedy ass shit.
You know, they may be, I double checked and vetted and all this kind of stuff, and he said, well, you know, Rand Paul says that he doesn't have any evidence. And I said, well, I can't speak for Rand Paul. All I can do is speak for me. You know, Rand Paul is entitled to his opinion. You're entitled to yours. I'm entitled to mine. We're entitled to our opinion, and you're entitled to not believe me, and I'm entitled to not believe you. But I don't buy into anything anymore. I used to be very trusting, and I got burned quite a few times. And I double check everything. I don't that's when I see something that I think is, you know, oh man, I want to talk about that. I read you an article today, okay? That has some statistics in it. I double checked the statistics to find out whether they were right or wrong. I want you to read these statistics to you just right off the internet. You know, I have to double check everything. And they elaborate on the lie. They make up other lies to show you, to convince you that what the first lie that they knew was a lie, they come up with some other lies to convince you that it's true. And you have to be very careful that we're in a very deceitful time, especially in politics.
First of all, now let me say this to Jim. I don't think he heard me yesterday when I said most abortions happen in a Republican administrations, because apparently, like Jim, they say they care about the baby when it's in the womb, but when the baby is born, they don't care anything about the child, because in economic times, bad economic time, that's when mothers are choosing to abort the kids, not to have to worry about raising them. Also, I didn't hear Jim say anything about he's so concerned about kids. Again, when the food in Georgia went bad, that was supposed to go to poor kids, when the food, over a ton of food was incinerated, that was already paid by the U.S. taxpayers, but they burnt the food up that was supposed to go to kids. 75 cents a biscuit, which what they call those little things they give kids will keep kids from dying of buttworms, basically being ate up inside by worms. So I didn't hear him say anything about that. And is Donald Trump going to hell because he's on record paying for 2 abortions? Is he going to hell, or is just the people that you don't like, Jim, going to hell? Because Donald Trump is not a Democrat. You like him. So I guess he ain't going to hell for paying for abortions. I guess you don't count him. And Donald Trump has broke every 10 commandments that there is. The Bible also says about being false prophets. The Bible also says doing the worst to the least of these, Jim. I know you try to be a false prophet, but nobody follows you. So what about doing the worst to the least of these, Jim? What about when I was hungry, get you feed, Jim? Okay? You don't want to talk about that, but it's always Democrats and judging and all that. Then you pull back and say, I don't judge. And as my grandma, I think that grandma used to say, put a line down river 20 yards and truth will eventually catch up to it. The guy that called in talking about he traced his family back to Revolutionary War, well, before he traced them back to Pilgrims. And now it's a stop to the Revolutionary War. There's a lie somewhere, as my granddaddy used to say. I don't know where it's at. I'm not calling nobody a lie, but there's a lie somewhere, because now they stop at the Revolutionary War. And then we're taking advice from a person who's telling us that Washington has never been safer. There's never been to Washington before in his life. That's like me going to the moon and said, boy, it sure is colder up here. I ain't never been to the moon. So how can he compare to what's going on in Washington? He can't. It's just opinion. He's been told what to say about Fox News in the White House. And then we've got to say, who thought it was pointless for the young lady to be there? She did, according to her boyfriend. She said it was pointless. And we do know that she said they was just picking up trash and walking down the street. They couldn't do anything. According to her boyfriend, that's what she said. We do know that they are picking up trash and keeping things clean in parks and things up there. And if he wanted to really do something about drugs, looked like to me they was from West Virginia. West Virginia has one of the largest meth population deaths in West Virginia. Why don't he send them there to make sure that they could take care of drugs there? Now let's talk about what you was talking about. I don't believe you check anything, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. You say too much stuff to be false for you to check anything.
What stuff have I said that was false?
I think about everything come out of your mouth is false. But let me say this. First, Pete Hudson said that the second strike didn't happen. Then he said that it did happen, but he didn't see it, which he said on Fox News. He was there and he ordered it. But now they're setting a fall guy for the Admiral. I guarantee you that Admiral is going to have to resign before all of this is over with. They're setting a fall guy for him. And there's a difference. There is a huge difference from, you keep saying what Rand Paul, well, let let me say this for. There's a huge difference from striking a narco-terrorist boat and then striking it twice when there are helpless people in the water. So, for instance, Terry Johnson and the Burlington Police Department, or Guilford Police Department, busted a huge drug bust here in Burlington. They also arrested about 2 weeks ago 32 pedophiles, where they had evidence of these people that were pedophiles, having sex with little kids. Okay, they're kicking in the door and arresting these people, kicking in the doors. Don't nobody have a problem with that. But if Terry Johnson would have kicked in those doors and then those people would put their hands up and then he would have shot them, we will be calling for his arrest, or at least I would. I don't care how terrible those people are. There are rights in this country. You cannot choose the type of rights that you will enforce. That is a lawless society. When you choose certain parts of America, certain parts of the American law that you enforce, that is a lawless society, and that's what you're talking about doing. It's hard for me to believe that anybody who got any sense, and if Donald Trump is concerned about so much drugs, why did he just give a pardon to one of the biggest drug lords in the world, who's put over 500 metric tons of cocaine in American cities? He gave him a pardon. If he's so concerned about drugs and killing these people on these boats, that you, other than you, supposed to believe. We're supposed to believe that you, in that little bit of radio station, in this little bit of Alamance County, have more evidence.
No, Michael, that isn't true. No, Michael, I answered your question yesterday. I don't have any more information than anybody else, but I've got a brain, and I can come to a conclusion based on information, and that's all I'm doing. I don't have any deep insights, and I don't know what you brought up, Rand Paul. I don't know what Rand Paul knows. I just have an opinion, just like you do.
Ray, no. That's how you get away with stuff.
No, I'm not trying to get away with anything.
Well, just let me finish. And then you have a 2-hour show you can beat me up on. Just let me finish this. Rand Paul is a United States senator who has oversight of the U.S. military. He said 20 other senators, Republican senators, have asked about where is this evidence at that Pete Hegseth says that he has, that you said you have saw, that 20 United States Republican senators don't see. And the last thing I will say is this right here. On this show, and you know this to be fact, on this show, we had people calling this show. It was easy for them to believe that in Washington, D.C., the last caller, actually, in Washington, D.C., there was a pizza parlor where where Democrats, especially the Clintons, went down in the basement and molested and sacrificed little babies. They called this show and said those things happened. But it's hard for them to believe that the people who are trying to withhold the Epstein's files are holding it so much that they won't sit a United States congressman, that they've been sitting Congress out for 2 and 3 months. It's hard for them to believe that Donald Trump has anything to do with it. They want to believe what they want to believe, just like you want to believe they are narco-terrorists, but you have no evidence that a United States senator does have. You have no evidence, but you want to believe it.
Oh, I appreciate it. Thank you. No, I don't want to believe it. I would love for it not to be true, Michael. I'm not a big fan of Donald Trump, but when he's doing something right, I don't have any problem with it. And for you you got after me saying that I equated something that I had said, the porch pirates, to what was going on. That's not, and I told you that's not what I was doing. But that's what you do. You equate, like you have brought up many, many times the pizza parlor thing. Almost no one believed that. Because all you had to do was check it out. You would have found out pretty quick it was not true. There are 330 million people in the United States. And I would hazard a guess that very few of them ever believed that. And it didn't take long to figure out that it wasn't true. It was a 2-month story, and everybody found out right away that it was a lie. Now, Are there some people that said it because they wanted it to be true? Absolutely. Absolutely. That's how one of the ways I found out that I am I have to double check everything is I wanted something that was said about someone that I don't like to be true. Jane Fonda. And they were telling this story, and the story had gone around many times, and I had somebody tell me, he said, you know, Harry, you need to double check that. That story's not true. That is not real. And just as soon as I found out that it wasn't real, that it was a whole story made up, and just like the story that somebody told me on this program one day about the doctor that discovered, how to give blood transfusions, that whole story, she said, well, yeah, it isn't, you're right, it isn't true, but it makes a point. No. Telling a story about Dr. Canola that is not true doesn't make any point. Well, it happened in other places, she said, and I said, well, it doesn't matter don't tell a lie to try to justify something else. And if I know something isn't true, then I'm going to let you know. If I say something to you that I find out later not to be true, like this thing, always get this stuff wrong. And Joe Behar said, because we want it to be true so bad. That's what Michael was saying. And he's right. But he's guilty of it. But if you're going to blow up 48 boats and you only did that one time, then I'm telling you, we don't know that that's what happened. Let's just see if we can cover it up. I think that's so wrong, but that's what they do. You blow up the boat, and if there's a way you see somebody floundering in the water, try to save it. I'm against that. I don't know what happened. I know that many of the things that were in the newspaper article have already been proven to be wrong from these anonymous sources. They were not true. 222-9224 on Talkline. You're listening to WBAG Burlington Graham.